say his name. There's a little animosity when the true AGs didn't follow it, because I guess they didn't like the way Rouse was portrayed. So, a little interesting. And then, after James, he went to St. Andrews School, which is a little Episcopal boarding school between Chattanooga and Knoxville, where I went to school. So I feel like we're kindreds. Probably not. A lot of those connections are here. But anyway, I am all that to say is I really am excited to promote this production. And what we're going to do today is Josh Rhodes is the director of the production. He's going to come up and talk a little bit about the production itself. Steve Cottom, our fabulous Knox County historian and McClung Collection Manager Emeritus, is going to talk about a show with some photographs from the era from the Hugh Tyler collection. I'll tell you more about that. Hugh Tyler was James Agee's mother's twin brother, so James' uncle, but twin uncle. Does that work? And then Hannah and Josh are going to come back and talk more about the production. So join me in welcoming Josh, Hannah, and Steve. I'm neglectful. There's a pay what you can night tonight, so we can talk about that a little.
Oh, sure.
Okay. If tonight you can pay what you want.
Yes, it's pay what you can night. So
Okay, no more.
Pay
what you can.
You know what that means, right? Just dying to let us know what this is. But yeah, we start previews tonight, so we are incredibly thrilled. But first, I just want to start saying that it is an honor for us to be in Knoxville and actually develop a new musical that has never been done anywhere other than one location. And this is what happens with new musicals before they go to New York, before they go anywhere else. They go into what we call development. And it takes a long time. It takes a long time to get something right. You need edits, just like probably someone writing a novel. So what the journey of this started with a man named Frank Galai. He was a genius and a dear heart that we just love. He was like a Papa Bear. He was just the most wonderful man. We just lost him last year. That's why it's a little raw. But he was a lover of all literature. I mean, Frank devoured books and loved words and was one of those directors that really honed the craft of words and making sure that the language of theater is not just a guttural situation, that is actually something that is enhancing your experience of words. The way he could explain things to you was just phenomenal. He was known for adapting Grapes of Wrath on Broadway, and it won the Tony, and he won Best Director for that. He did not shy away from great works of art. He was one of the people with these writers that adapted Ragtime. You know, if you've ever read Ragtime, you sort of go, good luck making that into something, into a 2.5-hour evening of theater. It's really daunting, but the words drew in, the text, the quality of the storytelling is what drove Frank alive. And what was bugging him for many years is he could never let go of James Agee. He loved Death of the Family and loved to play all of the home. And he was always thought in the back of his mind, maybe there's a musical here. Because they had been adapted into plays, which had been adapted into television, filming, and there was opera, but never a musical. And he saw this opportunity, and so what he did is he wrote his own adaptation of it. So he took the book and he wrote his own sort of play, and he thought it might be a play at first, and then his own adaptation. And then he thought, I don't know. And so he thought, dare I send this to my friends, Lynn Ahrens and Stephen Clary, the lyricist composers of Ragtime. They had just, had this huge success with Ragtime. And there he was, just thought, well, maybe this would work. So he sent them, apparently he sent them the manuscript. and he said, please look at this. Does this sing? And they didn't respond for a long time. And he said, well, I guess it does. And then all of a sudden he said, like Christmas, there was a package at his door with demos of music. And all of a sudden he opened it up and there were these glorious songs that they wrote. And he said it just floored him. And he thought, of course it sings. Of course it's James Agee. It sings off the page. You can't read those prose without imagining how violin could possibly be a part of it. And so what happened was they started collaborating again. So these great collaborators that gave us, to me, one of the biggest musicals of the last 20 years, with Ragtime, started writing. And it has a different sort of set of problems. With any time you adapt an entire novel and try to put that on stage, there always comes with you, there just comes a moment where you have to say, but what would this want to be? And so what I'll just say what probably makes this adaptation more singular to other adaptations is that Frank wanted to add a character named Paul, which is inspired clearly by James Agee, but didn't want to be too clear about it so that it wouldn't have to be an exact replica, because nobody knows what he was actually thinking when he wrote this, but wanted to put the additional tension over the entire evening of telling this story of a man going back. And so what is that? And maybe this is also Frank, someone who is very humble, beautiful man from Illinois who went off to make great works in New York, but also sort of yearns for home. And so what got James to sit at the typewriter and go, what I need to write right now in my life is my life back at home. I have to create that. So that's sometimes good theater, right? Is that you want to put someone's, you have to always put a little bit of tension on stage. So what this production has is it has a man who starts in his New York apartment and is not quite sure what to write next, or not pleased with it. And then all of a sudden, a violin that's very much of a feeling as if it's from Tennessee, because the score has a lot of bluegrass and it has a lot of banjo, mandolin, and things that would not be in New York at that time for James. And so musically, Lynn and Stephen created the siren song that sort of pulls him back home to the Tennessee mountains, home to the sound of the set, home to the place where I learned what loving and dying meant. Those are some of the first things that he said. And so what happened is a score started to be created, and with that premise, we started with, we did a reading. And what we do in New York is we stand pretty much like this with microphones, we put the actors in a row, and you do readings in front of people, and then you listen to it, you listen to how engaged people are, and then you scratch, cut, throw, put new things in. And so there were readings that Hannah did. I remember I sat behind and watched you. We did that, and then soon after we did what we call a workshop. What a workshop is no costumes, maybe like sort of fake costumes, and we need, fake dresses so the women feel like they're in 1915. Rehearsal skirts, we call them. Heels, all that stuff, hats. And you do a few things just so you can embody the period. But we put it up with very minimal scenery, and we stage the whole thing. And that helps us get to another thing. We invited more people in, and they watched it, and we scratch, throw. And then we were given a full production. And we were about to open, and a little thing called COVID came. So we had to shutter. We had to all flee Sarasota and go back to our homes. And luckily, the theater company was able to bring us back in. And so we went back and we did the full production. We finally got that in front of audience. And that was incredible. And we were able to sort of get this piece up. And then, of course, scratch, scratch, throw. And now we are working on it again here. And so this is really only our second chance in front of an audience to see what we have and to make changes. And so what's been so wonderful is to be working on editing a piece that happened here, that we've been able to go on walking tours. And we have local people. We've been able to collaborate with the university. We have some students in the show. We have local professionals in the show. We have local people working on our crew. And we have Knoxville in our space every day. And so for those of us who did not come from here, we all come from all over the place. I'm from Illinois, but yeah, about me? You want to know about me? Oh, yeah, I guess you probably don't know who the heck I am. It's the guy that pulled up the street. Here I am. So okay, I am now. I am the director of this production, but what I was the choreographer of this production with Frank as the director. And after Frank's passing, his partner came to see my show. I just had a show on Broadway this year called Spamlola, and it was really wonderful. I'll tell you this because it was just so sweet. He took me to dinner. And he said, before Frank died, he said, what are you going to do about Knoxville? And he said, Josh has to direct. And so it's my total honor that I get to take over in his place. Because he was such a great leader. And so that's how I got here. But before that, who I am, I left Decatur, Illinois, and I went to New York, and I was a performer for many, many years. I danced in 7 different Broadway shows, and along the way, I started getting excited about being on the creative team. I was an assistant to a man named Casey Nicolau on the Broadway show Drowsy Shackle.